What's going on, everybody? This is Michael Stewart-Isaacs,
And this is Shemekka Ebony.
and this is your next edition of
Sunday Stacks.
Yes, we are back, and we are excited as always to share another thrilling episode. And this one is going to be a masterpiece. Well, we are talking about, let's talk about sex. That's going to be our theme for today. And for this special edition of this podcast episode, we're actually broadcasting live from
Our bed.
in the bed. Yes, yes, yes. I feel like cue the music in the bed, but we are literally in the bed recording this edition of the episode as a means of really tapping into the intimacy that comes with let's talk about sex. We don't want to just talk about sex in the ways that have made the topic something that we should have some foreign discourse to, or something that is uncomfortable for us to talk about in our household. As we are always talking about at Sunday Stacks, we're about the FCC, which is family, community, and company.
And best believe sex is all in the midst of all three of those.
All of it, right? We were supposed to take sex ed since school, right? And what does school prompt you for? One day being in your community, one day being in corporate America or in some kind of, profession, and these things are always the taboos. But we don't want to just talk about social, sex within cultures and different things. We want to talk about our own personal intimacy. This one, we want to really just dig deep into our own life and how sex shows up, and how, if it's important, in regards to how we literally just process our days, our weeks, our months. And so we want to tap into that. So leave your comments in the chat, and definitely like and subscribe here on the YouTube channel. We want you all to really just engage with these conversations and really understand that Sunday Stacks is a place to unpack and really reflect on the things that sometimes it's hard to find safe places to speak on it in society. But first, me and Shemekka, of course, the author of While I'm Getting Naked, we have to really be transparent and vulnerable and really open up about our own sex life and how we utilize sex as a means of connection, but also as a means of understanding what is the social role for sex. Is there rules to the game? Are there things that we could be doing that we're not thinking about in terms of stimulating intimacy and greater connection and romance, and these things that should be attached with the practice of sexual intercourse? But at the same time, how do we get us there? How do we, let's talk about, Shemekka, how do I get you there?
Well, something that comes to mind for me is the intentions around sex, and how sacred even the intention is in wanting to connect. Because something that I think about when getting to me, like getting to me, is I'm not having to think about so many other things. Like if I have a ease of mind, then I can focus on things that are, I guess, tangible, more than being in my head. I spend a lot of time in my head, so I've become more aware of my head time. That's so funny. When it comes to how I show up with intimacy or what gets me there. How about you?
Well, I think I honestly passion, right? Every time with you, when I see you get in a state of victorious wins with the work you do, and you're so passionate, it's something about passion in a person. It's like artistic, and it's got this beauty. I think, especially as a man, and I don't know, fellas out there, if you agree, when I see a woman in her authentic self, in her most purest form in terms of what she loves doing, it's just something so sexy and something eternal about that. And so with Shemekka, that's how she gets me, is in the work she does, and when she's fired up behind it, it just stimulates me as a man. And I always say, men, we should choose our women as where we see our fullest potential, right? The filling in of our gaps that we have as men, that the woman that's with us helps us to fill in those gaps. So we're more of that perfected man that God intends us to be. And so that's kind of what fires my passion for you, is just seeing you get excited for the things you get excited for, and it's just so attractive and it's so beautiful to watch you, you know.
Thank you.
Yes, and it's that voice. So, you know, so many things. I think that's the part why we're bringing up this conversation is just because there are so many reasons why we create our sexual practices. And, you know, just as you all are thinking with this audience, like, just put some comments in the chat. You know, let us know some of your thoughts on what gets you to the place of intimacy, to wanting to engage with your spouse or your partner in any relationship means. Like, what is it that, you know, turns you on about them that then, you know, they're aware of, and are they aware that those things are what gets you about them? I think these are things we have to start asking ourselves these questions to improve, I
And
guess.
these things change, they evolve over time. As you healed, you'll relate differently to your partner or who you're intimate with. Like I've seen, I can look back over my life and see my various stages, um, whether it was, connected to intimacy or just an act of practice of getting aggression out or frustrations. I've seen also evolution in the more vulnerable you get, the more trusting you get. And for those in that may be listening that may have a partner that's also a survivor of sexual assault or childhood sexual abuse, your intimacy journey is going to look different than everyone else. It's just not going to be the same. There's going to be some awareness to triggers that you it would benefit you to be mindful of and not assume. So if there are survivors that are silently not telling your partner that you are a survivor and you don't understand why they, want to be intimate with you, and you haven't disclosed, there might be a good opportunity to have that real conversation so that that person can learn how to love on you, so that as a survivor you're not triggered in the experience, but it's something that you find your own connection in, so that it can be joyful and not feel like it's a routine.
And I love how you said that part, and thank you for sharing that with our audience. And, you know, we definitely want you to understand we're allies as well as a safe space for you to reflect. Because we're realizing with all the trauma we do have in our society, sometimes it's not a safe space for people to reflect on
Mm-hmm.
these types of things. They feel like no one understands what they're going through. And there's other people, unfortunately, that have been through similar trauma and traumatic moments. And I think as we gather and talk through these spaces, we don't feel alone. Doesn't change what happened to you and doesn't minimize what's happened to you because it happened to other people. It's just understanding the importance of safe space to be able to share what you've been through, so that doesn't weaken you. It actually gives you the true strength that you deserve to have, and the awareness that you have that you truly did survive something that allowed you to be the person who God has called you to be. So just shout out to all the people out there who've been through these types of traumas and
Mm-hmm.
pushing to the spaces of beautiful intimacy. And as you were speaking, it just really caught me as a man to really understand that awareness of what you've been through in life, but yet, you know, also having my own traumas as well too, my own early practices and unhealthy practices. You know, sexually, you learn from watching magazines or trying to get. I don't know if you're from my generation, you get that staticky, Playboy TV or something trying to
Sin
come
to the
through.
max.
Yeah, right, Cinemax, something trying to come. You trying to watch it at night, and it's all staticky. Of course, you know they got all the stuff on the internet nowadays, but
Oh,
that's the point. It's like there's a perversion on some levels on what intimacy should look like. You look at the music scene and you hear what's being said about sexual practices and habits, and it's not to criticize the artists or even the stuff that's out there. We all, indulge in it on our times without when we put our head down. Women who may go to church one day still come out and go to the nightclub on a Thursday night and want to twerk, right? It's like you just
mm-hmm.
never understand why we have these impulses to let our vibrations come out. And I think that's what I talk about with sex. It's funny, we were going to talk about frequency, right? Meaning like how often someone should have sex, and we'll touch on that. But I also think about sex as a frequency, a vibration, right? A
Mm-hmm.
wanting to share someone that you care about's energy And we never should miss that part, right? Because I know sometimes we just get horny and want to just do it to somebody, as the old school would say, right? But sometimes you got to understand the vibrational energy you're taking on, as well as the illnesses, sicknesses, the
Yeah,
dis-ease, all of
attitudes,
that.
the bad vibes, the connection to men using sex to take out aggression because
Hmm.
they're upset or mad. This angry sex, I don't know who does it. That's none of my business. But I just don't see the health factors of
Right.
having sex angry. Like, that's abusive. But, no judgment to the freaks out there.
Yeah.
That's just not my cup of tea. Don't be mad at me, banging me, hurting me. That hurt. That
Eh,
ain't.
and just like the greats who out there, I've heard a few songs called Pressure, but I'm talking about the great Ari Lennox, one of the I Am Brilliant alumni. Just shout out to her for that feeling of men, simple. Listen to that song. Learn how to apply the right kind of
Pressure.
pressure, but also know how to be gentle and be in tune with your lady, But I ain't gonna sit here and talk like I know what I'm always doing. I let my lady tell you if I'm doing it like I'm supposed to. But the point I'm saying is, it's about understanding to be in tune with the individual. And that's again the frequency, the vibration, the not rushing out here to just give your energy seed to everybody. Like I think too many of us
Those
misuse and
soul
misunderstand.
ties are
Yeah,
real.
it's real. It's real. It really is. And I
You
feel them
battling with something somebody done left in you from 2 years ago, cause
many
you.
years, 20 years ago. What you talking
Right.
about? Shoot, these things stay with you. I
They
mean, I'm a man
do.
of age. I'm 40 year right now, and I say that to say it's just like these things do stay with you, and I'm grateful for all the energy I've received in life that has allowed for me to now be in love and be in passion throve with somebody that I can bring so much great energy to my mate and my partner. And I encourage other people for what they've learned in life. And if you have been out there enjoying your best life, own your energy now, own your
Yes.
power. Understand it's great to use this sexual energy and power, but it's a vibrational, spiritual energy that we have to start to cherish more. And this is not me trying to preach at people. This is me just saying, think about it. Like, really feel it. The tired, the need for food, the energy to drain. So, but we won't get into this. Will be another a deeper dive episode. I think the main thing I want to end with is frequency, right? How often should we be having sex? And I'm gonna not ask my wife that more than I would say. Put in the comments in the chats if you like this conversation, where it's going. You want more conversation like this. Let us know in the comments and chats. Like and subscribe and share, please. We definitely appreciate all we can do to continue to grow this podcast and this channel. But this has been fun. I enjoyed this
Mm-hmm.
topic because it's the most authentic to our family, to me and Shemekka's relationship, and what we are trying to do to continue to bond, but also be power brokers here in the world.
Right, and being naked to
Yeah,
let people know, what real life looks like in a way to keep relatedness among us. Like, if you can make a lot of assumptions for or about us as you see us, but you don't have to make up anything. We're naked. Like, we got you. We're gonna talk about it because we want you to see yourselves in us, so that you too can strive to be the better version of yourself.
I love it. So, with that, we're going to switch the topic and we're going to our midpoint topic, which we want to talk about something that Shemekka has been working on. And she has an announcement for those leaders out there that are looking to empower their communities. Well, without further ado, I'm going to let Shemekka tell you what's going on in the next few days.
Yeah, so like November 7th last year, we launched the Community Bill of Rights. And with the Community Bill of Rights, we are lifting up a way of being to kind of help organization institutions see themselves where they are. No shame, no shade. But there's some better practices that could make meaningful engagement and centering community more powerful. And we collaborated, people like you and me, community leaders, those of us that are getting tapped on our shoulder often to get our opinion, but our values may not be considered equitable to be compensated for those opinions. So this is for y'all. November 7th, RSVP. Come check us out. Let's see what we've been doing. Let us show you here in real time from other community leaders. We're going to have about 6 of us up there that have been utilizing, introducing, and engaging with the Community Bill of Rights in their community. You can register for this virtual teach-in at communitychampion.club, as well as check out some of the co-authors that are also Community Champion certified speakers and presenters and facilitators. So definitely follow us, check us out, learn what this means for you, especially in this upcoming election journey ahead. Like, challenge your politicians to center community in this way when they come into your churches and your neighborhoods to talk. Make sure that they look at the Community Bill of Rights as a shared agreement in a way of honoring who you are, what you all are doing, and making sure to hold that elected official accountable to center community and prioritize your needs while they're serving in public office.
Now, you see why I say this woman, this is the sexiness I'm talking about. And this woman, and I'm telling you guys out there, value your women out here that have this power mindset that is changing communities. And I thank you for what you're doing, Shemekka. I thank you for all your partners and what they're doing with what you all did, the co-authors in the Community Bill of Rights, just everyone that's a part of making it come to life. I'm about centering community as well, too, based on what I've learned from you all. And just really building. That's what we're building here at Sunday Stacks, as a community. But most importantly, all of you out there that are really in communities around the country, different cities, different neighborhoods, this Community Bill of Rights is something you really want to get involved in. It really is taking the opinions and the insights from people all across the country that are just like you, but they've gathered together to basically allow for there to be a unified voice of the core principles that we need to really grow our community. So definitely don't let that go over your head. If you missed the website, again, I'm going to say it with Shemekka, it's communitychampion.club. I know that's different now. .club is like .com. So make sure you check it out, communitychampion.club. We promise it's going to go to a website. But you want to be a part of this club. You want to join this conversation on November 7th, 2023. Be there. Be ready to learn and get the insight. These are amazing speakers from all around the country.
Absolutely.
That really have powerful stories and experiences. People from Flint, people from Los Angeles, people from all around the country. That
Detroit.
Really, I mean, you talk about it, and they are top of the top when it comes to these conversations about new ways. And the fact that I love, the most importantly, we're taking people out of their silos and they're cross-pollinating better practices, as we say at I Am Brilliant, to really help them, their brilliance to really show, and how we're brilliant in a cluster. It's like stars coming together and making a galaxy, and that's what these leaders have been able to translate for us. So definitely check out the Community Bill of Rights. And
we'll be recording it if you miss it. And then also you can check out on Shemekka Ebony YouTube playlist. There's a Community Bill of Rights playlist so that you can catch up on what's going on and share this within your organizations and institutions. If you are an organization and institution that wants to transform your policy, your internal work, what I like to call the kitchen, then consider joining an action group that'll be launching in 2024. So you'll find that information out as well on our upcoming community engagement opportunities at communitychampion.club.
Awesome. So now that brings us to our last segment, our the Whiz of the Week. And as we're wrapping up this episode, we want to talk about this week Whiz of the Week, and we're going to talk about something we call Daylight Savings Time. It's Daylight Savings Time, y'all. If you haven't heard, you're supposed to turn back your clock depending on what city and what town you're in. But it's been these controversies lately across the United States that some states have still had this constant stance that they're not going to change their clocks. And so we just want to ask all the audience, do you change your clocks back for Daylight Saving Time? Or do you just let your clock sit there until spring comes and then it just catches up with itself? Like, what is it that people normally do? What are the best practices or better practices out there? I've changed a few clocks, and I'm thankful for the iPhone because it changes the clock for me. So, ready or not. So, what is your thoughts on Daylight Saving Time as we look to close?
Well, I want to say this. I bet that you all don't know that Daylight Savings Time is managed by the government, like a bill has been put in place to try to stabilize daylight savings time to be one standardized time year round, and it has failed. But I bet you didn't know the president had the power to manipulate when your day starts.
Well, and you know what? I have to say this because this is where my polymath comes out, right? I know that this is predicated on the sky, right? How the sun comes and rises, how the seasons change.
Labor and crops.
Exactly. So, but it is truly nature or universal nature, right? It's the way the sunlight hits. They're trying to gauge all that for the astrologers or the astronomers out there who understand these movements. But at the same time, it is problematic to those who their bodies get adjusted to certain work schedules. For children out there that have to go to school a certain time of the day. So, we have to understand it does have its challenges, but it keeps us on our toes.
Or it keeps us late.
Right? So, but with that, we're going to leave that to you all to comment.
Listen, I always appreciated falling back because it gave me an extra hour to party since my birthday was always falling around the time change. I always had enjoyed those years in my youthfulness where daylight savings time also correlated with Halloween because I got the extra hour to be in the club.
Well, that right there is an amazing little tidbit about Miss Shemekka. So we are excited. So with that being said, you all, like I said, leave comments in the chat, like and subscribe. Definitely come back and join the fun here at Sunday Stacks. As we told you, we were talking about sex today, and we are live from our beds, literally giving you an intimate episode. So we are definitely glad for you all to share this first with Sunday Stacks. We hope